So I have HD. I have always been able to cry, but now I have emotions that would make me cry, that the tears do not fall. Is this from HD?
We're struggling with this one.
So I will say, and I am not a doctor, I will admit to being on depression meds, going through all sorts of things with my brother. And that, for me, is what changed the most. It was that I was not able to cry, and then I felt like it was all stuck inside, like I couldn't release it. So obviously, not a medical advice here in any way, shape, or form, but if there is any medications that may be intervening.
So medications can definitely blunt your emotional response and drive, but I will say HD does that, right? And it doesn't mean that you're not feeling it or experiencing it. It just you might not be able to share it, express it, have the facial expressions that socially cue your loved one that you're sad or angry or understanding that they're frustrated with you, right? And it might take longer for you to meet people where they're at, right? So there's a situation unfolding, you're in a heated discussion, someone's getting emotional in front of you, you're realizing it, you're sensing it, you're feeling it. It just might take time for you to respond to that as well. So it's not that you lose the ability, but the regulation around it makes it more challenging. And having loved ones know that and have insight and patience and awareness can be really helpful, because it's not that it's not there and you're not feeling it. It's just hard to get it out.
I worked in hospice for many years, and one of the concepts that we talked about was internal weeping. And I believe that even with limited ability to express, that those emotions are happening inside of our body. For those of us who can clearly show those, it's more external and visual. If there are like key words or statements that you have with your family, friend, caregiver, that help them know that you are feeling or you're not feeling as much and you just need reassurance, develop those. They're almost like your safe words, because otherwise I think it can come out in different ways in some of those emotions that are less socially recognized and acceptable, like frustration, anger. And so having some tools in your toolkit, and I can't wait to hear what we're going to talk about in that area as well, that really give people insight into what you may be going through but cannot say.
Fantastic. Are there resources / insurances I should try to get when I'm thinking of IVF GD? I want children and cannot afford the process needed to have an HD-free baby.
No. So there's a couple layers here. There is supplemental insurances, which are things like disability insurance, life insurance, long-term care insurance, accidental death insurance, the list goes on. And then there's obviously medical insurance, and that's going to help go see a doctor and or get surgery if you ever needed it, ER visits, things like that. If you are, I'm assuming at risk, which is why you're probably asking this question, if you have not currently tested for Huntington's disease, we do recommend that if you are considering testing at any time, that you secure any of these supplemental insurances, life insurance, disability, long-term care, some of those things, if you feel like you need them for you in your future. It's not, you don't have to have them, but they can be very helpful as the disease progresses. Long-term care can help cover someone to come into your home to help you take care of you, help with your personal care needs. Medical insurance does not cover those personal care needs, and it does not cover annual assistance, despite what you might hear through Medicare and some of those things. So we do recommend that people secure those prior to testing if you can. There's other ways to save for your future. You can also go to a financial planner or a financial advisor or even a financial attorney and talk about ways that you can save for your future for potential, whether it's IVF, PGD, or for future care needs. So you can go that route as well. Specifically for IVF, PGD, for that financial assistance, there is Help Cure HD, which is a nonprofit that was formed by Ali LaForce and Joe Smith. Joe Smith is a retired, I believe, baseball pitcher. I didn't know if he was still actively. Anyway, he plays baseball. I think he was a pitcher. Thank you. Someone said he was. It's a foundation that they started because they also went through the IVF PGD process. So Help Cure HD, they have applications. I think they open it twice a year. Maybe it's 3 times a year now. You do need to give them lots of information. It is apparently a part-time job to complete the application, but it is well worth it because they will help support you financially through that process. Some insurances, surprisingly enough, medical insurances, actually do cover some IVF stuff. So sometimes they'll cover the medication that you might need to take. They'll cover doctor visits and things of that nature. So check your insurance, read the fine print. But there are ways to piecemeal it together so that maybe you can afford this for your family.
One other thing that as social workers we've recently been learning about through Allison Bartlett, our HDSA attorney, are accounts called ABLE accounts. And these accounts used to only be available for people up to the age of 26. We know with Huntington's that oftentimes people are diagnosed in their prime years, so they've raised that age at this point in time to 46. And it is a legal and allowable way for people who are disabled to save money beyond the $2,000 that Medi-Cal or Medicaid, depending on what state that you're in. So Allison, I believe, Marianne, yes, she's got some videos already out on the HDSA website, Help for HD. If you've got anything on that, be sure to check your resources or check with one of us social workers because we're in real-time learning about this right now. I frankly had never had anyone eligible to apply for this that I knew of. Now, because of what I've learned at trainings, there are some opportunities in that way because we know that the states, the federal government has not raised those prices in so long in terms of what people get paid and their assets being allowable. So it is another potential resource.
One other thing on IVF, you may want to check with your employer too. You will be surprised and shocked with how many employers actually may cover it. And if it's not your employer, check your spouse's employer because maybe they will, and then so they jump on that insurance, and that's how you can get it covered. Because often you may call and you have your medical insurance, and then the medical insurance, they will say we don't cover IVF, but then your employer actually covers the supplemental. One of them is called Win Fertility. So the supplemental is actually covered by the employer and not your medical insurance. So that's the other thing. Start with your employer actually, and then or your spouse's employer. So I just Googled because I wanted to be sure that it was still coming. But Starbucks is one. Starbucks is one that offers a lot of assistance, and it's not even for a full-time Starbucks manager. It is some part-time workers can also receive some help. So I'm like, hopefully Google's correct, but I do remember that being a help.
Oh, we do have that. That's another thing. If you guys have something you want to add or, sorry. If you guys have anything you want to add or to the answer, because obviously a lot of us in this room are the experts too. So if you know of anything, let me know. I have a mic. And then if you have another question that you just openly want to ask, I also have a mic. Gosh, we have a lot of reverb.
I just wanted to know what the website was for the financial advisor that she was talking about.
Oh, the ABLE accounts?
Yeah.
Like, anyways, it's part of SSA, right? Social Security Administration. So it's ABLE, A-B-L-E, all caps. I'm sure it stands for something. I can't tell you what it is because I'm just learning about it too. So I would just Google search able accounts, all caps. You can also go to HDSA's YouTube and look up Allison Bartlett and able accounts that way, and her webinars will pop up. Oh, Marianne has something to say.
CALABLE.org.
No gov.
.gov.
Good question, thank you.
Thank you.
NPS, the experts are sitting out there, not up here, I promise you that.
Just one other sideline is somebody who did go through infertility. My husband worked for the federal government, and the federal government had benefits that my state employer did not have, and my agency that I worked for. So that's another resource that people always think about.
Thank you. What foods can I eat to help beat Huntington's?
So I'm going to frame this as neurological health. So when you think about a healthy body, think about organ systems. You want to keep your full body healthy, but you also want heart health, lung health, brain health. And so Huntington's disease is a neurological disease, and you want to maintain good neurologic health. And it's very similar to heart health in that you want to eat a heart healthy diet, which we hear more commonly about rather than a brain healthy diet, but the same arteries or vessels that feed our heart feed our brain and share that health. And you want to think about good proteins, good fats, minimizing empty sugars, empty carbohydrates, good fibers, like choose the brown bread rather than the white bread, those types of things. So think about a Mediterranean diet. That being said, we all also need to feed our souls sometimes. And so just like any good habits, you want to make sure you do it most of the time. You also want to minimize toxic behaviors such as overindulging in alcohol, doing drugs, tobacco, those types of things. And you want to also maintain good health by making sure you don't injure your brain, right? We talk about double hit injury. If you have a brain injury plus Huntington's disease, those are two things. So, and what I meant by also being kind to yourself and having habits most of the time is, yeah, a cookie tastes and feels good, and so does ice cream, and so does pizza, and so does French fries, right? It's okay. It's just developing good habits most of the time and balance your French fries with the salad, right? Great, I was never ready. Coming down with it? No. Fair enough. A salad minus the lettuce? Is that?
That's hilarious. That is funny. Like a look on your face when you said it. Oh, that's nice. I love it. Okay, so these two are again similar. One is very simple, but trials becoming more accessible, how they use. That's simple. This is a little bit more detailed, and it says if I qualify for 2 clinical trials and both have benefit, but one has a longer clinical trial period, should I choose the clinical trial with the shorter clinical trial period in case I am a control?
You guys ask tough questions.
You really do, it's great. Okay, I'll take a stab at that. So a couple of things with trials. Ultimately, I would say if there's a trial that you qualify for, this is a good problem to have, I would say, right? If you're able to qualify for 2 or more, that's amazing, okay? I would think of what are the things that are actually required of you for the trial. What is the mechanism of the trial, right? Is it a drug? Is it a surgery? Is it a lumbar puncture? So introduce some medications. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. If it's a trial that involves, I would think of what is what is the type of drug or therapeutic that you're going to be, that are the options within the trials. If you want to be really savvy, maybe some trials already have some preliminary data, so you could kind of use that as a way of thinking, okay, which data looks more promising or which one doesn't. So it ends up being often a bit of a decision it's a very personal decision, and it often is a conversation that you have with your team, your medical team, and also the clinical research team. How often you have to be coming back for actual follow-up. So we'll focus on that part first. The question of what happens if I'm in control, I definitely see the interest in saying, let me do the shorter one so I find out as soon as possible and I can be in the other one. It's hard because we don't know. Some trials, you could be on it for a short period of time or a longer period of time, and then some data comes out and then the trial ended, right? And that's a very difficult decision and difficult conversations to have. So I would frame it more in terms of what is feasible, what you're more excited about in that situation. And yeah, then what are you most excited about? There could be patients that say, hey, I'm really interested in gene therapy. But there could be patients that say, hey, I really want to do stem cell trials. And again, Dr. Leslie Thompson will chat about it next, right? If there's something that for a long time, for whatever reason, you're most interested on or you believe in, I would consider that. I mean, more than the what if I'm controlled, can I be part of the other trial? Because the other question is, what if you were not controlled? If you were not in the control arm, for some of the other trials, you may or may not be eligible to be part of that trial if you were already part of one trial and got a drug. So those are some very complex and long discussions to have with your team. But I would think about it more of, do I believe in this? Do I like what I'm hearing about it? Is it something that's feasible? Is it something that is not going to be a huge burden on my family? And is it something that, what are you actually most excited about?
So I think the question also when it started out, if there are these trials that I can benefit from, what one should I choose? And I want to be very clear about research. Research is to study to see if something is safe, tolerable. Those are the first questions that are asked about research. And then whether it works. So you actually have to ask whether it's safe and tolerable, and then whether it works. So research is meant to move the field forward in terms of where we're going. And yes, we all hope to get to the place where we have a therapeutic that will slow down the disease or stop the disease at some point in time. But research cannot promise that for you. Research cannot say you will benefit from that. In fact, they say we cannot say that, right? You're here to answer a question. And so research is not for everybody. Do not feel obligated or that it is your journey to take. There are many people that do feel that that is part of their journey. It's important to them. And that's a question that you really have to address, and looking at all of the ins and outs of that particular trial. All right. And that if you're on drug, you might not be eligible. If you're on or off drug, depending on where your disease is at on that journey, you might not be a candidate for the next trial. So it has to be whether this works for you here and now, not what it can do for you, what it can do for the global community, and answering these questions are the really important pieces of this.
Michael.
Sorry.
Good morning. I'm Christy Figueroa Perez, and I'm the chapter president of San Diego, but I'm also a co-advocacy, and so I've been able to work a lot with the researchers and stuff. But the thing I really wanted to share personal is I chose to retire at the age of 55, 32 years in, and chose to retire not only because I have HD, because I wanted to make sure that I'm there for my family, and I get to enjoy the rest of my life that I have with them. So I get to pick and choose what I want to do. I get to go to Buena graduation. I get to go to the ball games and stuff, right? I get to do what I want to do, But also with writing key, I get to choose what I want to research now. And it made it very clear to our Dr. Corey Will, when they ask me if I'm interested or when I film in all the other ones, I do the ones that are not gonna kill me. I always ask, is there a risk that I will die? This is my choice because I want to know. I don't have to die, right? So I have a good choice. So the ones I will do is follow or watch. Sure, I got that. I'll answer your questions. I'll take all the tests. But those are the choices I get to make. You guys all have the same choices.
And thank you to the people who are controls because it is necessary and we know that it can be hard. But